doing? I just wanted to jump on this live really quick because I could not get this idea out of my head. Wait, hold on, let me see if this is... I was meant to have my candle in the background because I've gone and lit it and now it can't even be seen. So I'm like, oh, okay. Anyway, so that's gonna stink out the room. But what is up, everybody? I hope you're doing really, really well. For those of you who are new around here, I'm Jade. I'm super grateful to have you come and join us, whether you're catching this on the live or on the replay. Let me know down below, put a hashtag live or a hashtag replay, depending on which one. Let me know where you're joining from, because as you can see from the title, we're going to be going into all about how, you know, turning your dreams into reality and actually making shit happen for yourself in life. So PS, there is a PS on there, and that is because PS being child free has helped. I'm not saying those with kids can't make their dreams a reality. That's not what this video is about. It's simply about how to turn your dreams, your ambitions, your goals, you know, anything you're aiming for, whether that's in life, whether that's in your career, in your business, how to create them into a reality, because mindset is, of course, so, so important. So let me know down below, is it a hashtag live? Is it a hashtag replay? You can do this at any age. There's never a cut-off point for when you can stop achieving stuff. So I think there's a lot of people out there who are always like, oh, I'm too old to do that now. Oh, you know, I'm this age now, you know, I had my chance and now it's gone. That's a load of shit, guys. This is just a deficit mindset. And actually, talking of deficit mindset, I'm going to be talking about that a lot more a little bit later on. So I'm going to go through 4 main pointers. If you see me looking this way, I am just looking at my notes. So I was making loads of notes on this and I was like, man, I could literally get up and do a TEDx talk about this literally right now. I think I could do probably a TEDx talk about a lot of topics, not everything, because I don't claim to know everything, and I certainly don't, but this is probably one of them, and I will thoroughly enjoy this. And of course, you guys, feel free to input, feel free to leave your comments down below. What has worked for you? What are you working on right now if you're looking to share? And that applies to if you're catching this on a replay as well, of course. Please get involved. I love hearing from you guys, of course. So I'm going to go into how I turn my dreams into a reality. Obviously, that doesn't mean I've achieved everything that I ever want in life. I don't think it's possible to do all of it. Obviously, we all are on this life journey. And, you know, there is such a thing as aligned, what's it called? I've already forgotten it. Aligned timing, or like cosmic timing, or some shit like that. So I don't want you to think like, oh, I've got everything I want. Like I'm sitting here thinking like, oh, I've got everything I want in life and my life's perfect. That's not what this is about. This is not a bragging video. This is not all about look what I have, blah, blah, blah. It's more to do it's more to do with how you can go about trying to get and achieve those things in your life that you want. And they could be some things that you might think feel really out of reach, or someone's told you it's stupid to aim for that, or you've been told something. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you might be thinking like, oh, maybe I'm being too greedy or ambitious, or maybe I shouldn't want this too much, or all of this shit. That's a load of crap, guys. I want you to know that whatever it is that you're working towards, or that you want, or that, you know, any dreams that you have, no matter how stupid or silly they sound in your head or to somebody else, the bottom line is that's your dream. That's what you want. That's what you want to work on. And let's get straight into it. So there's 4 main pointers I'm going to be going over. Everybody has a different experience, of course. So this is how I turn my dreams into a reality. Obviously, being child-free did help. It gave me a lot more freedom. It gave me freedom to like start new careers and restart ones that didn't, you know, work out and stuff like that. So first and foremost, it's really important that, let me just put, I can't even see. It's really important that you make it really clear what it is that you want. Now, it's important to be clear, because if you're not clear, then obviously the path to getting from where you are now to where you want to be is going to be a bit, you're not going to be sure, because you're going to be a bit like, oh yeah, I kind of want this. I wouldn't mind this as well. Or, you know, it's going to be a bit wishy-washy. I've definitely been there before. I can sometimes do that now and again. And a prime example of this is when people say like, oh, I want to be rich. And it's kind of like, that's a bit vague. You know, rich is very, very different to everybody else. Like what one person finds rich is not necessarily what somebody else finds rich. So money is relative, time is relative. Everybody's flexes are different. Okay, so I want you to make it clear. Oh God, I want you to make it clear in your head what it is for you that you think you know, what it is that you want. Make it really crystal clear. I want X amount of money, or I want X car, or I want Y holiday destination, whatever it is, okay? And then from there on, what actions will you take? So what are you going to do moving forward? A lot of people always make these, you know, these goals, and they're kind of, where they're a bit wishy-washy, their actions are a bit wishy-washy. So that's why they kind of either never really get to their goal or what it is that they want, or they get it and it's kind of like half or something along those lines. Okay, I am going to catch up with those messages just in a sec, just to get this all going. Oh my god, it says 222 at the top. So yeah, into all of that cosmic shit or woo shit, whatever it is that you want to call it. Hey guys, let me know when you're logging in from, where you're tuning in from, I mean. So what are you going to do to make it happen? Because I used to hear this a lot from clients when I did work one-on-one, when I did do coaching. Now I don't do coaching anymore, thankfully. So I don't do that anymore, but I used to be like, right, what is it that you want? Okay, what is it that you want? And what is it that you're willing to do? For example, now I'm not saying you need to go and sacrifice every single piece of your being, because of course, especially this being a child-free channel, we're all about like not sacrificing ourselves, not burning ourselves out and all of that shit. So it needs to be something that you're willing to be like, yeah, I'm gonna work X amount of time for this, or I'm willing to do that for that, or I'm willing to, if it is small sacrifices, which yes, we all kind of make now and again, depending on the goal, then what it is that you're actually aiming for. And this is, guys, seriously, this is how you can get about actually having what you want out of life. Like I said before, right at the beginning of the video, this can be what it is before, you know, like what it exactly is that you want, instead of just, oh, if it happens, it happens, because this is wishy-washy. This is like where you're probably not gonna be, you know, taking those actions, because you're gonna be thinking like, oh my God, I can't get this, it's a bit, I'm not really sure about it, blah, blah, and all of that crap. So be really sure on what it is that you want, of course, and moving forwards, what actions are you gonna take moving forwards, okay? Oh, I'm waffling about whatever I want, honey. Love to you. Right, so what will you, second point coming up. So I know you're really enjoying yourselves, of course you are. That's why you're logging on here. That's why you're logging on, come on now. I know you really love it deep down. And I know that deep down, if you really feel that you need to put hate, I know you're hurting, okay? And I'm so sorry that you are hurting. I hope it improves. So let's move on. So what will you do and how are you going to react? Kind of like the second point is like, what will you do? How are you going to react when shit doesn't go your way? Now in life, a lot of shit doesn't go your way. You can tell from some of these comments, some people are like, shit obviously isn't going my way, so I'm going to get hella angry about it. But the important thing is how you react when things aren't actually going your way, when things aren't quite working out. What is it that we're going to do? Now, a lot of people, obviously the easy thing to do is just to be like, well, fuck this, it's not working, right? But what are you really going to do? Because if you're constantly like, oh, fuck this has happened, thrown a spanner in the works, and you're kind of like, oh my God, I don't want to do this anymore because this has happened. If you never try again, you're never going to get what you want, right? It sounds really simple, and to an extent it actually is simple, but humans complicate it. So naturally humans are going to complicate shit because that's naturally what we are, right? And you know, oh, I love being an auntie boogie. I absolutely love it. I know. No, it's actually tan. I've just come on off holiday. I tan really well because I've got, I'm mixed race, or I've got one white parent, one brown parent. So yeah, I know. Thank you so much. But what are you going to do when life hits you? Come on, guys. What are you really, really going to do when life hits you with this, and when you're kind of like, oh my God, what am I going to do? This has not worked out. Boogie, you sound really upset. Do you need a hug? Are you sure? Oh, poor thing. This is why I don't have kids, because I'd hate to have one and they turn out and be a horrible person. That was one of my fears. But anyway, actually, if you wanted to see, I'm just gonna stop this halfway through, because what I actually wanted to say, I've actually got a membership open now which is Unhinged. If you click on my channel, you'll see join. You can see there all the information moving forward and what are the benefits for you guys when you do join. Thank you so much, guys. You just reminded me. And actually, it's called Unhinged for a reason. And that is because the other day I was filming content a few weeks ago, and it was regarding a topic that I don't think would have really been acceptable on YouTube. It was actually just religion, but I mean, everything's censored these days. So I was a bit like, I went and uploaded that video and I was like, oh my God, I don't think this is gonna work. Like, I think it's gonna get taken down and all of this shit. So eventually I took it down. I didn't actually keep it up there. And I then thought, oh, what the fuck? Like, I've created this content and I really like the content I create. I know I create great content and I know I bring up a lot of topics that, you know, a lot of people feel validated with. And that's why I ended up pitching my membership to YouTube. You have to pitch it to YouTube so that they understand what you're doing. I thought it was going to get rejected. So I was like, okay, just put it out there, see what happens. And they actually accepted. They were like, yeah, it's absolutely great. You can't hold a man down. Honey, I can. And a woman. And yeah, so they actually accepted it. And I was like, okay, let's go along with it. Like, why not? This is great. So that's only just been like up for like a week or so now. So if you click join, you'll see all the benefits, because there are more benefits moving forward. It will be more uncensored topics that can't really be posted to YouTube, and some taboo subjects which may upset some viewers, so that, or YouTube will censor it. So for that reason, I've had to create that membership. But like I said, I thought YouTube was going to reject it, but they didn't. But going back to what are you going to do when things aren't working out for you? So how do you react when life throws you a spanner in the works? You know, as the saying goes, when life throws you a spanner in the works, what is it that you're going to do? Are you just going to give up on the first hurdle? Are you going to restart? Are you going to think again? Are you going to be like, right, how can we make this, you know, how can we make this better? Let me just move this, guys. How can we make this better moving forward? How can I get to where I want to be? What do I need to change? Do I need to change my mindset? Do I need to change my approach? Do I need to change something? Like, what is it that you need to change? So this will happen, and I want people to understand that this is going to happen, because it absolutely happens to everybody. And everybody who goes through something or tries to work towards something goes through this and goes through that time where shit isn't working out and they're like, oh my God, I need to figure out what is going on. And that is when you actually think about it, go, right, how can I change this? What do I need to do? Do I need to take a step back? Do I need to get help? Do I need to ask for help from someone? What is it that I need to do moving forward? And that is your second point. So first and foremost, if you're just joining on the live, let me know where you're joining from. Of course, this applies to you if you are watching on the replay as well. Hi, Sweden. Hi from Sweden. Hi, guys. I've not really had a lot of people from like Scandinavia join, so that's really nice. So lovely to have you here as well. Okay, so hi Jade, good to see you. Not so much a dream, but I want to live less financial anxiety. Being child-free means not needing to worry about saving tons of money for kids. It seems impossible now anyway. With our economy especially, I do hear this a lot from so many people, not even just child-free people, but of course people with kids, because it affects everybody. And people always think this economy and finances, they don't affect the child-free, because like we don't have any responsibilities according to everybody else. But of course, as you know, we do. We still need to live. We still need to have a, you know, roof above our heads and everything like that. But this is totally understandable. And I think so many people are reaching for this right now. But it's not from a greedy standpoint. It's just from we want to be comfortable. You know, we want to live comfortable lives. We want to live nice lives. We want to have nice experiences. And that's totally fine. You know, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So I'm from California. Hi. Yeah, no, keep them coming. Keep them coming, guys. I'm just catching up because obviously I was, as the comment said, yapping away as I do best. Just started stripping. No, this is good. Like, I know a lot of people who do that. They make a great living from it. And they're actually YouTubers as well. Like, they're YouTubers and they they're like strippers. And it's totally legal where they are. They're earning a shit ton of money from it. They've got a successful YouTube channel. Like, do what you need to do as long as you're not hurting yourself or others. That's what I always say. So what also helped me a lot making dreams into a reality was changing my mindset. I know this is thrown around a little bit on YouTube, or not on YouTube, just on socials in general. It is thrown around a lot. And people are like, just change your mindset, just change your mindset. And it's a little bit vague, right? What does this even mean? So it's not just thinking positively, although that obviously really, really helps. And this, I want you to understand, this isn't just me saying to you, oh, just think positively and think about the sunshine and the rainbows and the unicorns and flowers and everything like this. This is more about, how do we think about ourselves? Are we constantly in like victim mode where we feel like, oh, everything's like against me, or everything's like, you know, everyone's against me, everyone hates me, everyone bullies me. Like, from this mindset, it is called victim mindset or victim mentality, where you feel like the whole world's against you. Now, don't get me wrong, I feel like sometimes it will feel like the whole world is against you, and it will feel like everything's going wrong and stuff like this. And that's normal. We're just humans. We have feelings, right? You and I both. We all have feelings. However, how long are you going to sit there for? So I realized when I was in victim mentality personally, it was actually stopping me from moving forward, because I was always in like, oh, I always try something and it never works, so why should I keep trying again? Or I tried this, it didn't work, why should I try again? I'm never trying again. Or I've tried to, work in this place or in this job and it didn't work for like 5 minutes, therefore I'm not trying again. And that's what I mean by victim mentality, is feeling like, everything's wrong with you and everything's wrong with the world and everything's like, everything you try is wrong and, oh, I failed again. And just deficit mindset, okay? Because I don't want to keep saying victim mentality, because I don't like using that word too often, because it's a little bit, I don't know, it just gives me the ick personally. So always like this deficit mindset of looking at lack. Now, I do actually discuss that in one of my upcoming videos. I've got it kind of being edited and uploaded at the moment, but that will be going up this weekend. And I do mention that a little bit. So keep an eye out for that one. I really, really enjoyed filming that, because I was talking about one of my favorite series. So more to come on that on Sunday. But it was more about, if you're constantly focusing on lack and the negatives of something, which can be easy to do, because like I said before, we're just humans at the end of the day. We do look at lack, we do naturally look at that, but it's catching yourself in that moment and being like, I'm not looking at this anymore. I don't want to look at the lack. I want to look at the possibility. I want to look at the solution. Is there a solution to this problem? What can I do about it? Instead of just like, oh, it's not working, I failed, this is shit, this is missing. It's again looking at what's missing as well. Are you always looking at what's missing in your life, as opposed to like what you actually have in your life? That's something that really, really changed my lifestyle completely. Is like when I started looking at what I had. Right, what can I do? What have I got right now? What can I work with? What's in my life? What's the positive thing that's in my life right now? What can I work towards? Is there a solution to this? So if you want me to do something interesting, go find something interesting. If I'm not interesting, why are you here? But thanks for boosting the algorithm. So yeah, I mean, come on now. I thought that was pretty much simple. If I'm not interesting, just skedaddle. It's not hard. You know what I'm saying? But that's what if you constantly look at that deficit mindset, you're constantly going to see that. And without ruining the video that's coming up, that's what I discuss a little bit more as well. So focus on solutions and don't focus on the problems. People tend to look at, oh, this is wrong. Oh, this happened. Oh, I failed this. And that is exactly right. You can acknowledge it. Just don't sit there. Don't sit there in that energy, because it's not gonna help the situation at all. You're just gonna keep seeing the lack and the negativity around you, because that is what you're focusing on. Your energy, your focus is your energy. Whatever you focus on, that is just gonna grow, and that's what's gonna elevate. That's just what's gonna be in your reality. So, oh my God. So I think for me, the feeling of always lacking is consequence of growing up poor and not having enough to live comfortably. Trying to unlearn that is hard. By the way, thank you for sharing, but I do totally agree with you. A lot of people, if you look back at their stories, they'll have something very, very similar. So if you grew up with parents or carers who were constantly, you know, worried about money, or they spoke around you about, oh, I don't have enough this, I don't have enough that, then of course it's learned behavior. Like, we learn from who we're around, we learn from the environment that we're in. So we learn from, you know, what we hear around us. So if your parents or your carers or whoever raised you, if they were constantly looking at lack, then yes, you more than likely are going to do that by default. But when you get to a certain age and you get to a level of awareness and you're like, oh my God, I need to stop doing this. It's not me. It's not your voice. It's the voice of those who were around you when you were growing up. It's the voice of those who were like talking to you and speaking to you all the time, and the conversations you overheard. And, you know, they say environment shapes you. So all about the environment that you're in. I grew up in a similar environment. Of course I heard lack. Of course I heard, like, I had immigrant parents. So of course I heard, you know, people saying stuff like, we don't have enough money, you don't know when the next meal's coming, you don't know where that's coming from. It was all of this shit. And I definitely grew up hearing the same stuff over and over again, because as much as I was raised in the UK, but to immigrant parents, so it was very much like, you know, that lack was very much there. It was very much obvious. It was constantly spoken about. It was very, very, what's the word? Prominent in the household. You know, and yeah, it is harder the later you realize in life. Obviously, the harder it is. When you're just younger, you just act exactly how you see what's around you. So you just act like your parents, or you act like your carers, or what your siblings are doing, or what your family does. You know, you just follow along with it to a certain age, and that age is different on everyone when they change. The age that you get that awareness is, of course, very, very different for everyone, because some people become aware very early on, some people become aware a little bit later on. By the way, there's no right or wrong time to become aware. Mine was like in my early 30s, and I was literally like, oh my God, you know, wow, the way I've been thinking and talking about myself and talking about, you know, situations was like a wake-up call. I think it was during COVID, and I mentioned this in my last live that I did from Spain. Feeling of like, it's not because there's something fundamentally wrong. No, there's nothing wrong with you. Absolutely nothing wrong. There's not even anything wrong with the people who raised you or your parents. It's literally like, that's all they knew, so that's what they did. And that's, of course, how the cycle continues. And that's why a lot of child-free people are like, oh, my bloodline ends with me, because they cut that cycle off. They're kind of like, I don't want to teach my kids this. I don't want to be subconsciously like this around my kids. And that's one of my reasons is I would hate to subconsciously be behaving in a certain way around my kids, and then they grow up saying or doing the same stuff that I don't like doing, or that deficit mindset. I was like, no, I don't want that. And I know I might do it subconsciously. Let me have a look on here. Okay, so I was going to go back. So yeah, I refuse to be victim mentality. And then, of course, focusing on solutions instead of problems and instead of the lack, because you realize like your energy changes as well. So when I stopped doing that, by the way, at first you have to make like a conscious effort. And then, of course, after that, it becomes where you get more practice, it becomes more natural. So you become more natural in how you're thinking, in straight away going to the solution instead of the problem. But it does take practice. I'm not here to say that happens overnight and that's going to happen like that for you, because more than likely it won't. Realistically, it definitely won't. And yes, Darren, oh my God, I'm the grand finale. How weird. You're the second person I've heard actually say that. I put that on my Facebook once and I heard it somewhere else. So I can't even say like, I don't know where I heard it from, but I was literally like, oh my God, this is great. You're the grand finale. It is fun to say you're the grand finale. Or you can't get, you know, the saying, they save the best till last, especially if you're like the baby of the family or you're the last born. Like, I'm the second child born. My parents didn't have any after me. I don't like calling myself the baby. I think it's just a bit pathetic personally, but you know, my mum still likes saying that, like, no, but you're the baby because you're the last born. Like, no, I'm not a fucking baby, but anyway. And it's just so funny. Right, so I say the last point, there's loads of points that you can bring into this as well. There aren't just like, it's not just set in black and white, it's not set in stone. Everybody's experiences will be very, very different to mine. Yours will be different. Anyone else that you know, if you stopped anyone that you even know or in the street or a family member, and you said to them, right, how did you make your dreams a reality? They'll give you a completely different story. Okay, so no one's going to say to you, I waved a magic wand, I woke up one morning and I was this. Okay, it all comes from like some sort of grafting, without saying the word like sacrifice or burnout and stuff like that. everyone's got their own story. But I actually stopped hanging around. Also, I stopped hanging around with people with that deficit mindset. Now, this can be quite hard because you don't want to obviously cut people out when some people can't help it. Like, some people just struggle with their mental health. They struggle to think positively. They struggle to get out of a rut. And I totally understand that from the standpoint that I've been there. All I can say to you is I've experienced that and I've been there myself. So I know what it feels like to A, be that person, and B, be around someone like that. So I always think to myself, wow, those people who I used to hang around back then, and my partner at the time, like when I was still boyfriend and girlfriend with my husband, that must have been really hard for him, because I was a nightmare, because I used to always be that, you know, that person who focused on lack and, oh, this is a problem, and it's all, oh, everyone's out to get me and the whole world is a big bad place and all of this. And that's what stopped me from actually being the person I am now. But now, obviously, now I can fully lean into that and be like, right, I'm no longer that person. Obviously, I have my down days, and I literally just had this conversation the other day. So on Tuesday night, I literally like started randomly getting really upset about my running journey. So for those of you who don't know, I'm a distance runner, not an elite, although obviously I wish I was, but you know, we can't have everything we want. So that's another thing that I always work towards, and making dreams my reality as well. Is part of that is my running journey, making those running dreams a reality. So that is something that I broke down about on Tuesday, and I suddenly got in my head about it. And this is just the reason I'm explaining this and giving this example is that no one's immune from feeling like shit. No one's immune from having bad days, from having shit days, from having, you know, you can be the most positive person in the world if that's naturally who you are by nature, if that's your natural personality. You can be one of the most positive people in the world. You're still going to have shit days. Like, you're still going to have days where you can't be bothered, where you're not motivated. And that was me on Tuesday. And I was obviously struggling, like still Wednesday, I went to the gym and I was like, oh, I can't fucking be bothered with this shit. Like, what am I working towards? And that's because my goal wasn't clear. I had to get really clear on that. I had to have a pep talk with my friends. Oh my God. And I was telling them that I felt really stupid about crying about it. And I was literally like, I wanted to let it out. I wanted to cry and let it out and, you know, get it out of my system and stuff like that. And they were like, but that's fine. We all have those moments. And they reminded me in that moment, right, you're a human. You're going to have those moments where you're looking at, oh, but I've always done that race wrong. I always did really shit in this race, or I always do shit in that distance, or, oh, I don't want to do it in case I fail. That was it. Don't want to do it in case I fail. And that is what people are usually scared about when they go towards their goals, especially women. This really affects women a lot, is they're like, I don't want to do it in case I fail. I don't want to look like an idiot. I don't want to look stupid. I don't want to let anyone down. I don't want to make myself look like an idiot. I don't want to let myself down. And that is the fear that stops almost, I think that's probably the number one fear that stops people from going towards their goals and actually getting to what actually is they want. Specifically women, because women obviously always have self-doubt put into their heads, and that's just society in general. Again, discuss that loads in other videos as well. But going back to hanging around with broke-minded people is like, don't hang around with broke-minded people. Well, I say don't hang around with broke-minded people, but these people, if they're starting to drag you down, and when you start elevating and you start like feeling, you know, you start working on your energy, you start working on your mindset and starting to like live the life you want, like you just mentioned. I was literally just about to say that and your comment popped up. Look, you know, you start doing what's good for you, and you start doing all the things and buying things and doing and hanging around with people who make you feel amazing about yourself. Those people who want to live in that deficit mindset, or they're not ready to come out of it yet, they might start getting a bit mad at you. So they might start getting a little bit, you know, like, oh, you know, that they're gonna, you know, have you heard the saying like your light irritates other people's demons? And that is exactly what's going to happen. And that's what does happen. And I'm not saying this as a way of like sneering at them or being like, no, like I'm better than you, or I've elevated and become self-aware and you're not. It's not that at all. It's not about looking down on anyone and being like, oh, you're still down there and I'm up here. It's more about, you know, if this person is going to continue to drag you down, whether that's consciously or subconsciously, because some people do that consciously, then it's time to maybe cut ties with this individual. So maybe moving forward, just have a look. I always say to people, have a look in your social circle, like who is around you, who's hanging around, who's actually rooting for you and who isn't. Because not everyone in your circle, not for every single person, but not everyone in your circle is always rooting for you. Some people are genuinely like not in your corner. And there's a saying that goes around. You've probably seen this meme loads of times before. It's been shared like millions of times on like Instagram and stuff. Make sure you, what's the saying? It's like, take into account who doesn't clap when you win. Or it's something along those lines. Let me know down below if you've heard that saying before of, you know, keep an eye on those people who don't clap when you win. So they're like usually really into you and really in your face and really in your corner, like when something's going wrong. And maybe they're there for you and that's different. But usually they're kind of like, I always had these friends, like a select few in my life, luckily not a lot, like a select few who were like very much, you know, they were like there for me when shit wasn't working, if that makes sense. And when it was working and I was in my winning season, because basically we all have winning seasons, but we're not always at winning season. We're not like always up here, because that doesn't, you know, that's just unrealistic. So it's not always up here. But when you're in that losing phase, or you're in that down phase, or you're down and in the dumps or whatever, they're kind of happier, if that makes sense. But then when you're winning, they're like not happy. So those are the people who, you know, they don't clap when you win. They pretend they're in your corner, but they're kind of like not. Now, I am not saying, and I've said this before in other videos, but I'm not saying go and find all these people right now and cut them in half. I'm not saying that. I don't want to be responsible for any like divorces or any friendships breaking up. Of course, when some friendships just fizzle out. Ugh, that was a bit of a mouthful. Some friendships just fizzle out, and that's fine. They don't all, you know, it's not about having an amicable breakup or, you know, a big fat fight or anything like that. Some friendships just fizzle out. You just stop aligning with certain people for various reasons. Now, I hear this a lot when people say that their friends had kids, obviously. So I hear this a lot when people say, oh, my friends had kids, and obviously they just never had time for me, or I never had time for them, or I tried to meet up with them and it was always like fall through, because obviously they've got different commitments now. They've got a family, they've got kids to actually look after and raise and babysit, and they can't do things on a drop of a hat like we can. Okay, and that's, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. That's just the lifestyle they've chosen, and we've chosen a more spontaneous one. However, that's another example of friendships that usually fizzle out, and they kind of just end up not really working because you're not living that same lifestyle again. Anymore. You're not living that same lifestyle. You're not, you know, you're not molding or gelling together as you used to. And you might have been bestest friends. You might have been best friends in school. Like you grew up together, you went college together, university, I don't know, maybe you even lived together, maybe you had the same job, you met at work. Even so, you could be like the bestest friends, and then it can all change because that person's just living a slightly different lifestyle to you. Okay, woo! I've chosen family now that support me. Oh yes, oh my God, you've gotta have the right support around you, 150%. So I used to always give people the benefit of the doubt. So sometimes if someone wasn't being very supportive, I never used to always I'd like retaliate and get a bit upset about it and bit in my head about it. And then I'd think to myself, hold on a minute, this isn't my problem, this is this person's problem. The way someone reacts towards you is not your problem all the time. 9 times out of 10, it's something to do with themselves, and it's something to do with their own self-hatred. And I'm going to go into this. I wasn't actually going to bring this up, but I'm going to bring it up. And that is when somebody wants to knock you down for whichever reason. They might not even have a reason, and they don't always need to have a reason. When anyone's trying to knock you down or put self-doubt in your mind, or to dim your light or anything along those lines, they will come at you on a personal level. And this has happened to me. And any woman watching this, it can happen to men as well, but any woman watching this, I can guarantee you right now, whether you're watching on live, the replay, whatever age bracket you're in, you would have experienced this. at some point as well. Let me know if you have. And do you know what's really funny? Because some of these comments are just a prime example, and I'm actually absolutely loving it. That's why I've kept this live on, because I'm just loving you just showing yourselves up. Now, you've mentioned she doesn't know if she's white or Asian. The irony of your comment is I'm actually Eurasian. I'm right in the middle. I am right in the middle. So thank you for your comment. I don't even know how to describe that. So if someone's making a personal attack at you about your body, about your looks, about anything to do with your appearance, they have lost everything. You've lost the argument. You've got absolutely no ammunition left. If you had ammunition, you would come at me with facts. But because if somebody doesn't have facts, then they come at you with the looks because they've run out. They don't know what to do. This person's already lost. You've lost the argument. You've lost. You've got absolutely nothing to use against me. So just please understand that when people use your physical appearance, and women will have been on the, women would have been on the receiving end of this at some point. 150%, I can guarantee you've been on the receiving end of this. At some point, you've either been body shamed, slut shamed, even if you're not a slut. You've probably been like something about your appearance, your hair, your skin, your face, your teeth, your lips, your makeup, your lack of makeup, your clothes, your lack of clothes. You're dressed too slutty, you're not dressed slutty enough. You dress like a tramp, you're not dressed like you're going out or you're not. You can't get it right, okay? The irony is that they're typing this from behind a screen. Of course they are. Of course they are. This is what's entertaining about it. You're showing yourselves up. You give people enough rope, they'll hang themselves. Literally mixed people are everywhere. Exactly. Thank you very much. This is what I'm trying. Are we still trying to educate people on this? It's 2024 and we're halfway through it. It's like, in fact, we're over halfway. Like it's almost 2025 and we're still having to explain to people that some people are mixed. Like, geez. I don't want to say Jesus Christ because I don't want to go there down the religious route. This is going to be a film if it goes down that. Some of the people here are why some people don't want kids. It's a gamble. You could have kids who grow up like some of these commenters. Precisely, I actually made that comment earlier on, is like the reason, one of the main reasons, and by the way, I will share my list of 60 reasons. It's only 60, like that's a bit shit. Should be about 600. So I will share that list in my membership, no joke. I happily share it. I've written out 60 reasons why I don't want children. And one of them is, so if I had a female child, so if I had a daughter, I would hate for them to be on the receiving end of any kind of like abuse, any kind of discrimination, any kind of sexual abuse. I couldn't think of anything worse than bringing a daughter into this planet the way some of you are behaving in this comment section. Or if it was a son, again, I would be highly embarrassed if I found out my son was treating other people, not even just other women, but other people in that way. Like, you're just showing yourselves up. Like, your parents, like if your parents are around, I don't know whether they're the reason that you behave like this, but I would be so embarrassed, like, for sure. Hold on. Yep, it is a gamble. 150%. That is a gamble right now. Guys, you are proof. Like, this is why I'm keeping the live going, because you're literally proof of why so many of us don't want kids. You're actually proving to all of us, you're reinforcing our child-free status right here, right now. There's actually a group on Facebook. I'm not in it. It's all about this reinforces my child-free status. And it's probably loads of people just sharing videos, comments, parent stories, regret stories of their children coming out like this. I'm guessing you're a fully fucking grown adult if you're coming. I can't believe I've been on here 40 minutes. I've only just dropped my first F-bomb. Like, what the actual fuck? Okay. That their kids are going to come out like this. This reinforces my child-free status 150%. Please continue, because what is going to happen is these comments are always going to stay on here. And obviously the live stream is the live stream. It stays on here. They don't go anywhere. It's always on the internet. They don't go anywhere. But of course, for those of people who are going to rewatch this and come back to it and watch it non-live, that's what they're going to see as well. So again, they're going to be like, damn, they're going to be looking through those comments like, damn, thank God I didn't have a kid. I say God, I'm an atheist. Thankfully I didn't have a child, because then they would grow up and go on the internet and just cuss a random person who they don't fucking know and make comments about race in the 2024. Like, are we still going down this road, people? For sure. I hope that person isn't an adult. That would be sad. Well, if they're a minor, I don't know why they're on the internet by themselves, but guys, this has just made me realize I am so glad I was in an era where I didn't have internet and social media. When I was growing up, we didn't have smartphones. I mean, we just had phones. We kind of like were just getting phones, but we did. I had this conversation with a friend of mine. She's much, much younger than me. She's Gen Z. She's like 24 or 22, 23, 24. And she said to me the other day, she was literally like, oh, how did you guys communicate in your day? I was like, what the fuck do you mean in my day? I'm only like 15 years older than you. Okay, I was literally like 15 years older than her. But I was like, we did have phones. You know, we did have a phone, but you remember when we had credit? Who remembers credit on phone, where you literally had to like, you had certain amount of money to spend on the phone, and each text message in the UK, it cost like 10 pence, or it was like 20 pence for a picture. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm re-talking about all of this. But I told her about all of that. She was like, how did you keep in contact with people? I was like, we did texts. We did have text messages. It just wasn't as instant. We didn't have TikTok, thankfully. We didn't have social media. YouTube was around, but it wasn't really that big. We had Facebook, but it was only just coming about. It wasn't as big as it was now. It was literally just a profile for people to share. It was like an extension of MySpace. But now obviously business can be used on Facebook. Like, you can have a Facebook business page, you can have run ads, like, etc. And she literally made me laugh so much, because the way she said it was like, how did you guys communicate? As if I sent like a pigeon to someone, or like an owl, or a telegram, or some shit like this. It was actually the funniest fucking thing ever. I just burst out laughing, and I was like, you guys don't realize how easy you have it. Someone said, why do you not want children? Is it for the sake of the parent or the child? Both. I've never personally had a desire, so the desire's never been there. There's never been a maternal pull. But also, again, for the child as well. Don't want to bring a child onto the planet when, you know, there's so much trauma, there's so much hurt. Like I mentioned before, I don't even want a daughter or a son, because again, like somebody else mentioned in the comments below, it's literally a gamble. You don't know what you're getting. You don't know if they're going to be a murderer or be murdered. Couldn't think of anything worse. Another reason, and Darren mentioned, another reason I don't want to be a parent is the decision, okay, whether or not to give your child a phone or not, and having to worry about what they're seeing. Oh my God, exactly. You know what? I said to someone the other day ages ago, when they asked a similar question, like, why is it you don't want kids? Is it you don't want to be a parent, or you don't want a child, or what is it? And I said, I've obviously never had the urge, but I've never felt the urge to have a baby. I don't want a baby, a toddler, a teenager, or an adult. I don't like them at any stage, because there's so many variables at every single stage. A lot of people just like the baby stage, and this is a problem. A lot of people only like babies. They don't like humans. They don't like them when they're older. They don't like them when they're a toddler. This is a massive problem. You can't just have a baby because you like a baby and not a human. Like, fuck that. But again, when they become a teenager, not even a teenager, like when they become like 12, 13, they start going to high school. You go to high school at 11 here anyway, and they get phones, and I'm like, oh my God, what are they looking at? Because there's so much shit online. As you can see from this comment section, there's so much fucking shit online. Who's talking to them? What are they saying? You know, I would just be on pins every single minute of every single day. I would sleep with my eyes open. Not one eye open, both eyes open. Because, wow, it's just, you know. But your child would want a phone after seeing their peers. Exactly. This is another thing. You can't say no. And I can see the struggle that parents have. Like, I can genuinely see the struggle that parents have, because they're going to see their friends with a phone and be like, why haven't I got one? It's the same as when they buy new trainers, or when they have a new bag, or when they have something new. they see their friends with it, so they're kind of like, well, I want that too, because I don't want to feel left out. I don't want to be the odd one out. And it's such a catch-22. Like like I said, I'd be on pins. I'd literally be on pins every single day. Like, and I don't want to be that parent hanging above my kids, watching their every move, watching what they're looking at, following them to school, seeing who they're talking to. Like, you can't be that kind of parent. You just can't, because then your child grows up to rely on you, because then that's wrong as well. Oh my God. It's just a massive catch-22, a massive vicious circle of constant, you know, worry. Worry, but obviously, like, you're worrying about what they're exposed to, but you're worried about, like, you can't wrap them in cotton wool either, because then that will make them soft. It's like, oh my God. Like, guys, it's a mind fuck just thinking about it. So, oh my God, it's so hot in here and I did not open the fucking window. This reminds me that teachers and parents can't really control their kids well anymore. I saw videos saying teachers have less power in classrooms and being treated really, really badly. I also saw this the other day. I mean, this was a problem even when I was at school. Like, it wasn't as bad because we genuinely weren't allowed phones in school. So when I went to school, phones were only just becoming like a thing. I didn't get my first phone until I was about 15 or 16. Not even joking. And even then, I was only allowed it after school. That's the only time my parents gave me gave me a phone. Literally, I wasn't allowed it. You can't be a helicopter parent or a carefree one. It's quite confusing. Yeah, I know exactly. That's why I'm not doing it, because I don't know which way to go. Each way is wrong. So why am I going to do it? Do you know what I'm saying? Every way I turn it is going to be wrong. But going back to the phone, but even then the teachers would have such a hard time, because every now and again someone would be caught with a phone. But when I went to school, I'm showing my age now. When I went to school, if you were caught with a phone, it was like a really big deal. It was like, oh my God, you got detention, your parents got called, you know, they were like this close to fucking calling the police. But now I think a lot of kids actually have phones for safety reasons, like so that they can call their parents, so that they can WhatsApp them. We didn't have WhatsApp. We didn't have any instant messenger. You didn't even have a camera on your phone, I don't think. I think camera phones were literally just for people with money, not my parents, obviously. So, you know, the teachers now, I don't even want to know their challenge that they have in the classroom. They must be getting, like, having kids just full on filming TikToks in their fucking classrooms. But they are treated very, very badly. I do agree. And I have heard this from the education system. It was a post from someone I saw on Facebook, but they were in the United States. But it is just as bad in the United Kingdom. I think the education systems in both countries are quite similar, from what I've heard. Obviously, I'm only going off what I've heard. Oh my God, I do enjoy my cats. I only have one. I'm really disappointed. I need to get more, Boogie. Send me some more, honey. Okay. Woo, take a breath. Right, I think it's important to teach people that having kids is optional, so they can really think about whether or not it's something they want, or they don't want to end up becoming a regretful parent. For sure, 100%. There's a whole Facebook page, you know, just for I regret having children. You've probably seen it. It is an anonymous page where parents talk about their regrets for having children, and it's heartbreaking. Some of the story, like, people just go there and they find it funny and stuff like that. Honestly, I don't find any of the stories funny. I can't even imagine that kind of regret where you can't reverse it. Now, we can regret decisions in life, and I write about this in my book, but you can regret decisions in life, but sometimes we can, like, move away from them and be, like, untouched, if that makes sense. So we're kind of like, okay, that was just a learning curve. Let's move on. Not too much damage done, depending on what it is. But genuinely with that, it's just like, it's non-reversible. So yeah, I think people should know that it's an option moving forward. And the reason they need to know it's an option is because the regret is irreversible. It's not, it's not a receipt you take back to a shop, you know. But I've heard some people say that the purpose of life is to create more life. What happens when they don't want to? If that's their purpose of life, is to create life, then that's their business. It's the point is that also Darren mentioned is people need to know it's optional. Like, if it's someone's purpose to create life and they want that to be their purpose, fine, let that be your purpose if that's what you want. But the important thing is, don't look at like the people who don't want to get involved and they don't want to procreate and they have their own personal reasons. Those people, they have their own purpose. They've found it somewhere else, or maybe they don't really give thought into that. Not every child-free person is sitting around going, oh, what's my purpose in life? We don't all think that deeply. Some people just want to live a nice life. They just want to get on with their hobbies. They want to get on with their job. They want to have fun with their friends and create nice memories and go on nice trips. That's it. Not everyone's sitting here deeply going like, what's my purpose? Some people do. I sometimes do, I'm not going to lie. But we're not all going to sit here to be twiddling our thumbs like, what am I meant to do if I don't have kids? Not everyone's thinking that deeply. Oh, this has been 50 minutes, guys. Thanks so much for contributing. So when I went to public school, there was a similar policy. No phones during class. Even if I went off or rang, you'd have detention or the phone taken. Yep. My school was like a nunnery. I'm not even joking. I went to an all-girls school and it was hella crazy. It was literally like so hard. Like, I can't even expect, that probably wouldn't even be allowed now. Some of the stuff that was said to us and the way we were just all like, it was all very, everyone sat in their box. You know, you weren't allowed to look different. You weren't allowed to speak differently. You weren't allowed to fight for your rights. Nothing. It was literally like, it was a nunnery. Oh my God. Your purpose in life is to do whatever you want it to be, as long as you're not hurting people. For sure. 100%. I find so many people regret their decision more so than child-free people. It's so true. Not gonna lie, there seems to be a parent license since there's no one. Hold on a minute. Since there's so much on the line, if you mess up, you could mess up and ruin a literal human. You guys are dropping the facts. My God, I'm just gonna sit here and just let you guys comment for sure, because you guys are just dropping the fact. It's true. You can literally mess up a literal human, and that's what, oh my God, now it's all the ones on the top. Woo! Seriously. I haven't heard the word sket for so long. Mate, are you living in the 90s? Where I'm from, I was saying that when I was like 9 or like 8. That is such an old word. Please get with the times, honey. Anyway, I am looking to get off anytime soon, but thank you so much for joining. I do need to put my pizza in the oven. Yeah, your girl's having pizza tonight. Woo! It's not even Thursdays are the new Fridays, everybody, or it could be whichever day that you want it to be, of course. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey, guys, and thank you so much for dropping your experiences down below. Remember, if you are catching this on a replay as well, you can still comment down below, share your experiences. Love to you guys. And of course, stay safe, stay blessed, stay as positive as you possibly can, but don't beat yourself up if you're not positive every second of every single day, because the bottom line is you are just a human. So take care of yourself, guys. You guys, bye. See ya.